Yeah, I think the HMO market has been one of a lot of focus and interest, and we thought it was an opportunity for us as a bank to write about it as a lending proposition, the kind of opportunities we think exist and support it, but also some of the risks that are associated with it. And I think it's kind of consistent with the Shawbrook approach of trying to deeply understand the markets in which we operate. And I think it's an area that's going to get an increasing focus with some of the interest tax relief changes. People are searching for higher yields, and I think many people think HMOs are an easy option, an easy way into kind of better returns. And we just thought it was appropriate to spend some time exploring it, why that's happening, the kind of opportunities, but then also some of the risks that need to be managed.
One of the real elements of that report is focusing around how HMOs are valued and trying to dispel some of the myths with regards to what investors can expect a property to be valued at when it is used as a HMO. And what we're trying to do there is to explain the difference between someone who has put some fire doors on and kind of using an existing 4-bedroom house, kind of made a few changes to it, spent £3,000-4,000 to that property. That's less likely to have a capital appreciation as a HMO than someone who has made something very specific. So we see quite a lot of HMOs that are very set up for professional tenants. They may well have 2 kitchens, they might have double sinks or a washing room that's available for the customers. So they've gone an extra mile with regards to the extent of the works that they've done to that property. Now, looking at that just purely from an outsider's point of view, if you wanted to buy a HMO property, would you choose to go buy something that you could buy the one next door and spend £3,000 on and get that rental income? Or would you choose to pay a premium for the one that's just had that work done? They're not going to pay a premium for that. However, the other one that's had specialist works done to it, that does justify that there will be a premium added to that. That's quite a big difference. So the report tries to go into details of explaining the different types of HMO valuations that you can get. Obviously, once you have 6 or more bedrooms, it's a different kind of HMO and there's different valuations that are involved. And this tries to actually go into the real intricate details so that you can understand what to look for when you're going out viewing properties with the view to either change them over to HMOs or that are existing HMOs, and you're trying to decide whether the value of that is right and fair. So they should help on that basis.
Yeah, so what are the main challenges facing a HMO landlord? I think there's a few challenges. I guess if I take them in turn, I think understanding kind of valuations and how the asset will be valued is important, because as many landlords want to understand kind of what the gearing opportunity is, how much they can gear against a HMO and on what basis. And there's a lot of complexity to valuing those properties, and it varies region to region. So I think that's an area that I think it would be difficult for landlords to truly understand, and there are just vagaries with valuing HMOs. I think there's that. Clearly there's the challenges you've got about managing multiple tenants. It's much more intensive and it's a different model, and landlords need to be ready for that. They need to be kind of geared up for that, either with the right partners or just themselves kind of knowing what they're getting into. And the complexities around planning and licensing, again, add a layer of complexity that landlords need to know, need to understand fully before venturing into. But I guess if I had to pick one, I'd say I think for landlords, understanding how those properties are genuinely valued in the market right now would be my biggest challenge.
On HMOs under 6 bedrooms, Shawbrook has 2 approaches to valuation. It can either be a bricks and mortar value or can be an investment value. Now, there is a lot of myth in the market that investment value is the norm for HMOs. So you can buy a 3-bedroom house, you can convert it to a 4-bedroom by putting up a stud wall or perhaps converting the living room into a bedroom, put some fire doors on it, and therefore then you can borrow against the investment value in the future. The honest truth is that's not valued as an investment property, as a HMO on an investment basis. The reason behind that is because if you were an investor going out looking to buy that property to use as a HMO, would you pay that premium or would you buy the one next door and do those works yourself? So there's a logical explanation with regards to that. Where you can get an investment value is perhaps where the property is in an area of Article 4, so there are limits with regards to how many HMO licences are going to be granted. Equally, if you've done extensive works to that property, so it is very much a HMO, so where the structure and the fabric of that building has changed significantly so that its purpose is for a HMO and they've changed the fabric of the building, in that instance there is more chance that a lender will look to the investment value rather than the bricks and mortar value. So they're generally the things that you need to consider.
Yeah, so Shawbrook's appetite is to lend to established, proven investors with HMO experience. For the reasons I've probably spoken about before and earlier, we do believe it's a different type of investment. It needs, an awareness of the different types of risks that need managing and a different type of intensive hands-on approach, and/or working with the right partners who can do that for you. So in that regard, we've always focused on trying to attract and appeal to those kind of investors and landlords that have got a track record of managing those types of assets, because it is a different skill, that's where our appetite has been. It also fits quite nicely with the Shawbrook proposition. We've always targeted professional landlords and the more sophisticated landlords, and that's kind of our proposition. So again, we're pretty consistent with that.